Hello everyone, my name is Mr. EX and I'm back with another Rome 2 replay cast, and this one is a special one because it's my first tournament cast, and we will be taking a game from the AIMA tournament, which has just started up and is ongoing as we speak. And today we have a matchup between Pergamon and Carthage, and SH Sol Invictus is going to be Pergamon, and Lusitani Noble from the AIMA clan is going to be Carthage. This is the second game in a best of three, and it's still in the early stages of the tournament. And since the tournament is in use it lose it style, you're going to see cocky / confident players going for weaker factions so that they can save the better factions for later on in the tournament. So it seems that SH Sol Invictus seems quite confident in his ability to outwit and outplay Mr. Lusitani Noble. So let's see how this goes. So let's start with the Pergamon army. We have a selection of 1, 2, 3, 4 Galatian swords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Galatian swords. We have 5 Galatian spears, I believe. I see. Yeah, we have some Galatian spears on the flanks. Yep. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hippeus Lancers and a Pergamenes Noble Cavalry General. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4 Archers. Okay, so an interesting army. Let's see what Lusitani Noble has picked. So he has the standard 3 Balearic Slingers from Carthage, what you'd expect. He has 4 Libyan Hoplites, yep, 2 on the flanks, 2 in front, to screen for charges. And then he has a front line of 1, 2, 3 Italian swordsmen and a Gallic warrior. Okay, and then we have 4 Carthaginian cavalry and 2 noble fighters. Wait, Samnite warriors, sorry. And we have a noble fighter here. And I swear I saw a noble fighter, a second noble fighter somewhere. He's probably over. Yeah, he's probably over here. We just can't see it through the replay. So I'm just gonna click play quickly and see if a second noble fighter reveals himself. But as far as I'm concerned right now, I really don't like the pick from Carthage. Yeah, we see another noble fighter. And I'm going to tell you why. Because with Pergamon, if you're coming up against a serious Pergamon player, like in a tournament, you should expect really a shock cav build, because Pergamon does not have much else to do much killing power. So really, the bane of shock cav builds, in my experience, is 2 things. Either bringing spear-based armies, which our friend Mr. Lusitani Noble has not brought a lot of spears. He's brought these fantastic late Libyan hoplites, which are very good. They have their 30 bonus versus large. But the other thing, which is very difficult for shock cavalry to deal with, is bringing a lot of heavily armored mid-tier swords, as opposed to really expensive infantry with a lot of and cheap infantry. Because the problem is that Pergamon doesn't really have a lot of killing power in its infantry power. So I feel like this bringing 2 noble fighters is just really overkill. He really should have gone for the mid-tier sword power and more spears, perhaps, because these guys will become really high priority targets. And if you get a good charge with your Hippeus Lancers, you can absolutely wreck a noble fighter. So I don't know. I think I would have perhaps either gone for hoplites or just some more mid-tier swords. So I'm not sure I like the selection from Lusitani Noble here, but we'll see how he uses it. 4 Carthaginian cavalry, I do agree with that, because he can chase out Hippeus Lancers as they retreat from charges and get a lot of kills. So we'll see how he uses them. So we see the players moving up. The skirmishing battle is sure to ensue soon. We have the Libyan hoplites use screening. We have some opening fire volleys from the Balearic Slingers onto these Galatian spears. A bit of a waste of ammo. Yeah, he should focus on the archers, as he is now. And it seems, because the skirmishing advantage is undoubtedly in the hands of Lusitani Noble, we are going to see a push from SH Sol Invictus. So we'll see how this goes down. None of the units being activated by Lusitani Noble yet. These Galatian swords are going to trade very well, these late Libyan hoplites, and I do not like the fact that we have a big space between the lines here, because it'll be very difficult to reinforce these Libyans. So really, he should move up his front line so he can toss some jabs if the Hippeus Lancers come in. Also, this exchange is not going to go well for these Libyans. It just... And he's going to get a rear charge on these Libyans. That is a disaster for Lusitani Noble. This is definitely not going his way. And these Galatian spears just going to run up and throw a javelin toss at the general's bodyguard and the cavalry. Lusitani Noble, what are you doing, my friend? Get your general's bodyguard out of there. Oh no, is that cavalry counter tactics? Oh, Noble, come on, man. What? Oh no. That's 10 of his general's bodyguard gone already, which is a bit of a disaster. We have a really poor charge from the Cipaeus Lancers into these Gallic warriors, so not all is going terribly for our friend Lusitani Noble, but we are going to see a rear charge from these Cipaeus Lancers into these Italian swordsmen, these little Libyan hoplites, so this is definitely not looking good for Lusitani Noble. Really, his cavalry should be up there to follow up the charges, to pin down the cavalry, so that SH Sol Invictus pays for his ballsiness, essentially. But we're seeing another really good charge from the Cipaeus Lancers into these Samnite warriors, and he's going to follow up with a Galatian sword. This is going to be absolutely brutal. Okay, we have a nice charge from, well, it's not really a nice charge because he's screening that charge with Samnite warriors, but it should tip it in the balance. But unfortunately, we have a counter charge from the Cipaeus Lancers. So yeah, this game is definitely not going in favor of Lusitani Noble, but still the pick is in his favor. I think I'd take his army over the Pergamon army, but we'll see. So we see these Italian swordsmen are routing, Cipaeus Lancers are retreating as they should. These Galatian spears are actually a really good unit for their price. They have a very nice melee defense from what I remember. He has 68, which is really good for their price. They have jabs, cavalry counter tactics, an all-round fantastic unit. This noble fighter should be activated right now to throw jabs at the Cipaeus Lancer or get a charge on these Galatian spears at least. Galatian spears doing nothing here. Cipaeus Lancer should be going around the flanks as we speak, but he's probably microing elsewhere. We have another charge from the Cipaeus Lancer into these Italian swordsmen. We get a lot of kills. At least these Balearic slingers seem to be proving their worth. If they get shots into the general, this could be very, very good news for Lusitani Noble. The power bar is starting to move in Pergamon's favor, but we'll see how things go. This Galatian spear is going to get straight up charged by these noble fighters, so it's going to get absolutely destroyed. So that's decent, but we already have these Samnites routing with only 58 kills against really low tier infantry, which is very disappointing from Lusitani Noble. Another charge going down on these Mercenary Noble fighters, not good news. Oh, but it must have been a poor charge because they're really not dropping. They're actually going to do a lot of damage to the Cipaeus Lancers, following up with Carthaginian cavalry. Very good move from Lusitani Noble, but he's about to get sandwiched by two Galatian spears, which is not good news for him. And we have another charge going down from the general into this blob of Carthaginian cavalry and mercenary Samnite warriors that is going to be very painful, especially with the 76 charge bonus of these Pergamenes Noble Cavalry. I'm not a big fan of this unit because of their armor stats. For their price is a little bit ridiculous, but you do get the elite tier charge bonus, which is always very nice, usually reserved for cataphracts and some of the more elite step lancers. And we have shots in the back of these late Libyan hoplites and these Italian swordsmen, so they're really going to feel that. These guys are going to rout, no doubt. And if they're not going to rout now, they're going to rout in a few seconds. This Carthaginian cavalry is running away with its tail between its legs, being chased by two units of shock cavalry. So, are they going to get a straight up charge? Oh no, they're not. Sol Invictus got a really poor charge here, so Lusitani Noble got a little bit lucky. He could have absolutely devastated the Samnite warrior, although he could have followed up with some cavalry and forced him to take losses. But as I see it right now, this is definitely not looking in the favor of Lusitani Noble. He's being surrounded by Galatian spears, shock cavalry, archers. I'm afraid this is looking like it's going to be a last stand. Oh no, the Galatian spears are getting into those Balearic slingers, which is a disaster. Oh no, a charge into these mercenary noble fighters who don't have the best defensive stats in the world, so they're definitely going to feel that, and the HP damage is going to be devastating because he absolutely needs these guys for late game to clean up all this shit tier infantry that SH Sol Invictus has left. So, oh no, these Galatian spears are going to do so well in that skirmish engagement. So, this is definitely looking like it's going to be in the favor of SH Sol Invictus. I believe this is the second game, and he won the first game, so he's going to progress to the next round. unless if Lusitani Noble can prove me wrong here and absolutely wreck face of these mercenary noble fighters, although I doubt it. I really think this is a very poor choice from Lusitani Noble, bringing two noble fighters against Pergamon. I mean, what are they going to try kill exactly? I mean, you just have Galatian swords. You can just, if you screen effectively, get your Libyans in them, they'll do just as well as noble fighters for half the price. So I really think this is a poor choice from Lusitani Noble. Maybe he wasn't expecting a shock cav build, but I mean, really, you should be expecting a shock cav build when you're against a good player, when you pick Carthage. Although maybe he thought that Pergamon was expecting spears, so he maybe thought that he was outpicking him because then Pergamon wouldn't pick the shock cavalry. But I mean, honestly, nah, that doesn't really. I mean, Pergamon has no tools at its disposal. The only thing it has is this shock cavalry and has fucking pikes, and no one's gonna take pikes because they're, you know, they're reasonable people, especially in the tournament and when it's not a blade balance. So this is definitely looking like it's going to be a victory for SH Sol Invictus. Let's see what happens to this poor little noble fighter as he gets kited away and butchered by these really cheap archers. Oh, most unfortunate battle. Well played by Sol Invictus, always a very good player. Anyone that's played him knows that he knows what he's doing, and it's never fun to go against Sol Invictus in a tournament, I'm sure. Because as I say, he really knows what he's doing, a very good player. So he gets 1,650 kills, and Lusitani Noble gets 987. So starting with the Pergamon kills, these Pergamon is getting 78 kills. They were not completely depleted, so a decent performance from them. Decent performance here. All round decent performance from these Lancers. I mean, these guys kind of underperformed, but I mean, you're always going to have that one Lancer that underperforms, or two. When you're in a Pergamon build, I mean, you're bound to get a precursor volley into your Lancer, so this is a pretty decent performance from these shock cavalry, and he used them well, as we saw in the battle. These archers paying for themselves, for sure, and the fact that they're still alive and they probably still had ammo means that they were very well used, and the Carthaginian cavalry were not able to get into them, as we saw during the battle. These Galatian spears just doing what they do best. I mean, they don't have to get a lot of infantry kills, they just have to kill very expensive cavalry, which is what they did. And I don't know how in the middle of that battle that Galatian spear managed to get to the general. Somehow Lusitani Noble must have missed it. I don't know if it's this one, but these guys doing very well. 165 kills with 2 XP chevrons. This is a very good unit, by the way. I really like these Galatian spears. And then we have Galatian swords. Galatian swords doing what they do best, coming in after the charge and absolutely wrecking face. Fantastic unit for the price, 380 when they have some fantastic charge stats. If you make sure these guys don't get charged by an infantry or a heavy cavalry unit, these guys will do fantastically. So highly recommended unit, probably one of Pergamon's only saving graces. And from Lusitani Noble, General Bodyguard kind of got wrecked by the Galatian spear. These Carthaginian cavalry doing not much. These Balearics underperforming, to be sure. I mean, they got caught out by Galatian spears and he wasn't able to protect them in the endgame, which is unfortunate. These late Libyans underperforming on the whole, I'd say, because they got charged by these Galatian swords, which is always a disaster. You don't want that to happen. Really, he should have been more on the ball and charged in with his Carthaginian cavalry. He would have done a lot of damage to his Galatian swords. Of course, Sol Invictus would have countercharged with his Lancers, but I mean, anything's better than getting your Libyans straight up charged by a Galatian sword unit. These guys, these Italian swordsmen, doing pretty well for their price. 118 kills, not bad. These noble fighters going okay, nothing special, but they could have gone a lot better if he had protected them from charges. And I don't know, I just think in general this army composition was not well thought out, or if it was well thought out and he was actually just trying to trick Sol Invictus into some different build, or if he thought, if Sol Invictus thought that Lusitani Noble was going to go for some hoplite heavy build, or maybe they were trying to trick each other. I don't know if this build was really calculated or if it wasn't, but on the whole I just really wouldn't recommend 2 mercenary noble fighters against Pergamon. It's not a good idea. You need more cheap infantry or more mid-tier infantry. You need these Libyans, as you brought, and you should have brought a lot of javelin throwing units. I mean, the Iberians would have done very well. But yeah, a good game, both really good players. I mean, Lusitani Noble did get his ass handed to him a little bit, but I mean, anyone that's played against Sol Invictus knows that he's a very good player, and I'm sure next time Lusitani Noble will give him more of a run for his money. So anyway, see you next time, guys.